Drop in, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hair pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah, that's winning.
Hello everyone and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph, you've got Say Hey Lewis Hayes, and that means that we're live for the Horizon IndyCar Series one more time here at Kansas Speedway. Lewis, we were supposed to be at Gateway. That's what the schedule said anyway.
Absolutely. I'm kind of conflicted, I guess, I love Kansas, but I love me some Gateway as well.
Yeah, so the reason that we're at Kansas and not Gateway is that there was an update to the track at Gateway. There was a new scan, and Lewis, it doesn't agree with these cars. The setup that they had was not conducive to the layout, and so Matt Wagner and the gang decided to move the race here to Kansas. 133 laps here tonight, and Lewis, you couldn't ask really for a better replacement. This is one of the best tracks that IndyCar's run on in the service.
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of progressive banking, so we're going to have multiple racing lines, enormous influence of the draft. So the drivers they can actually go from being the hunter to the hunted in the length of just a straightaway. So it should be an exciting race for sure.
You know, it should be. This track, known for producing exciting racing, Indy cars were among the launch customers here. They've raced at this track from its inception in 2001 all the way through 2010. The outright track record is held by Thomas Scheckter, 24.874 miles an hour in the 2002 edition of the Indy 300 here. That was in a 2-year-old Dallara IR18, if I remember correct. That was one of the Red Bull rocket ships that had the special Infinity engines in it, Lewis. Those cars were wicked quick. The track here, though, has aged a lot. It is, Lewis, it's progressive banked and all that, but the asphalt's kind of wore out. You got to look after your tires now.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a little walk down pit lane before the race, some of the teams told me that preserving that right front was probably going to be key to the race, and whoever could do it best was most likely going to be on the podium at the end of the night.
Absolutely. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in, joining in. Got a big crowd on hand. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you can get in on all of the iRacing action. We're about halfway through the week, Lewis, and it's been a week so far. You'll notice the black P1 Broadcasting logo. That's in honor of our good friend Justin Petschauer. If you want to see how the IndyCar community has honored a guy that has meant a lot to that community, take a look at last night's Indy Oval top split. Just watch the end, and that's about what the community has to say on that. We're going to continue to honor Justin, and we're going to watch some qualifying right now, Lewis. How about Mark Cohn at the top of the board? 217 miles an hour and change. He's almost a full mile an hour faster than his nearest pursuer.
I know, he's actually telling us that we're going to have to watch him tonight, no pun intended.
Mark, of course, known as the Watchman. Let's jump on board primetime John Stellard as he works his first lap here at Kansas, all the way at the top, and now he's coming down toward the bottom. We're on board looking out the right eyeball, or the left eyeball of John Stellard. Across the line, his first lap, 12 quick. 25.958. This will be the money lap, though, Lewis. And John Stellard not getting all the way down against that white line like I thought he might. Here he is coming to the line. Second lap, 24.710. He didn't go all the way down to the line.
P2.
Yeah, he didn't go all the way down to the bottom like I thought, Lewis, but he went straight darn near to the top of the board. And that is pretty much going to end qualifying. Chris Albrecht, Joseph Morales, and Mason Mitchum have not taken time. There are 25 cars. 25 cars signed in. Matt Wagner.
A late P2 in qualifying by Matt Wagner.
Yeah, we call that a sniper, Lewis. He came in and sniped it right at the end. And he and Indy Kirchenbauer make up the front row here. The guys that came in at the end knocked Mark Cohn in the last minute all the way back to 10th, and there is not much in it when it comes to there's not much in it, Lewis, when it comes to that front row, my man. Holy
yeah,
mackerel.
we have an interesting lineup tonight because Tristan Forson was actually quickest in practice tonight, and we know he was our winner in week 1 at Homestead. So you can say Kansas and Homestead are a little bit more alike than what we would get at Milwaukee and Gateway. So Tristan might be a force to be reckoned with tonight as well.
It is possible. We've got a starting grid ready for everybody on the pole. It's Indy Kirchenbauer. He's going to be flanked by Matt Wagner in P2. Tristan Forson, John Stellard in row 2. Nate Fields, Chris Stouffer make up row 3. How about Clay Kirchenbauer, Gary Lover, and a pair of VRL Votive Racing League cars in row 4. William Holman and Mark Cohn round out your top 10. In 11th, it's Yari Brubaker. 12th is Kenny Smith. 13th, Sheridan Wade. Andrew Serwak. He'll go from the outside of row 7. Then Daniel Drazo, Wayne Campbell, 15th and 16th. Matthew Carroll, Brandon Domingue, row number 9. Brandon Staten and Nicholas Stockner going to round out the top 20. Will Stearns, Grandpa slots in 21st. Iker Peguero is 22nd. Mason Mitchum, Chris Albrecht, and Joseph Morales bring up the rear. They did not set a time in this one.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Mason Mitchum is starting in the back of the field once again tonight, and we'll have excitement watching him try to slice and dice his way up through the field. I have no doubt that if he doesn't run into trouble, he'll be up there sooner than later.
We will. Do want to point out that tonight you are going to see, and you see it on the pole sitter of Indy Kirchenbauer, you're going to see a number of cars wearing the Jacques Villeneuve or Greg Moore. Alex Tagliani ran that car. AJ Allmendinger ran that car. Paul Tracy. But that was Justin Petschauer's favorite paint scheme. You're going to see cars racing that paint all week long. Indy Kirchenbauer has it on the pole here tonight, but you're going to see several of those out here in honor of a man who did so much to promote this community. And Justin Petschauer passed away unexpectedly last week. And Lewis, we're all thinking about Justin. He was a friend of ours at in the booth. I didn't realize this. Gary said yesterday, Justin had done 140 races just on P1, which is the equivalent of 7 full IndyCar calendars.
That's amazing. I'm on my 3rd one, so much respect, and he will be missed, no doubt.
He will, but as racers do, Lewis, you got to put that away now, and you got to go race, right? Indy Kirchenbauer has the top spot, and he's got a tough customer, Matt Wagner, next to him. Pace car is Alf. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and we are underway. 133 laps at Kansas in the Horizon IndyCar Series.
Clean and green so far through turn 1, headed down through turn 2. Over to the backstretch. Everybody looks like they're minding their manners, and hopefully we can get through lap 1.
They're minding their manners. They're minding their tires. They're minding, as you see Chris Stouffer. He's not minding anything. Look at Stouffer wind it to the high side on Nate Fields. He'll make that move and drive right up behind his buddy Matt Wagner. You know, Lewis. One of the things that you got to mind here. It's not just the tires getting hot and getting worn out. You got to mind them when they're cold too. These Indy cars, lap 1, turn 1. If you're not careful, they can snap loose with you.
Absolutely. I learned that from the hard way the first time I was in an IndyCar race, and the car that you have on lap 1 is not like the car that you'll have on lap 10 for sure.
No, it's not. And I'll tell you, Indy Kirchenbauer, he's one of the drivers that has gotten some on-the-job training at that. Indy is a perennial contender in the official Indy Next series, and those cars are notoriously hard, Lewis, to drive for about 3 or 4 laps. Well,
you got a lot less grip because the tires are smaller, especially the rear tires back there. So absolutely less grip than these cars have here.
You do, and there's Indy. He leads away, and he has taken off, and he's trying to run away and hide. He's got out to about a 1 second lead over Matty Wagner, who runs along in second. And there's what that looks like from the rear of Indy Kirchenbauer, hurtling along at, well, about 220 miles an hour off into turns 3 and 4, and he continues to yard Matt Wagner. He's been consistently a tenth quicker than the group behind him. Tristan Fortson has now gone to second. Wag's back to third, and he's got trouble in the form of primetime John Stellard coming behind him.
Yeah, I'm looking at Indy right now. He has definitely been quick enough with in the first 2 races to have won both of them, but some pit strategy and some fuel running low has cost him 2 wins. But he's tough when he gets out front. He can really run away and hide if you let him.
You know, he can. We're watching Chris Stouffer as he slices at the bottom of primetime John Stellard. Stouffer looking for that 4th spot, and he'll have it. Just get clear of Stellard, and he'll give chase to Matt Wagner in third. What I was going to say was there's 2 schools of thought here, right, Lewis? There's I am going to save my fuel, save my tires, save my stuff. That's thought 1. That's what most all of these drivers are doing right here. And then there's a second school of thought, and we saw this with Kyle Clinworth in the Area 51 race a couple of weeks ago. Stand on a loud pedal, run away and hide, and dare everybody to come get you. That's what Indy Kirchenbauer is doing, and he's pulled a 1.5 seconds now on Tristan Fortson, and he continues to build that gap lap after lap. And there it is. There's from the P1 airship. That camera lens pretty far away. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes, and there's not another car in that camera shot with Indy Kirchenbauer.
Yeah, he did this. He did this at Homestead as well, so he can really stretch it out there. But let me ask you, Murph, even though he's running quicker lap times and he's pressing right now and pushing, because he's in clean air, do you think that he's not doing any more, not heating up that right front any more than the guys behind him that are faced with being in dirty air?
It's always easiest to run the car in clean air. That is always easiest on the tires. So he and Tristan Fortson, and there's Tristan, they have a huge advantage over, somebody like Matt Wagner or Chris Stouffer or primetime John Stellard as you look at Tristan Fortson, and we'll get on board with Tristan. I'd much rather have the clean air than I would be going slower in the back and slowing down. I'll say that. You can save tires in the pack, but it's very difficult. And you can already see, if you're looking at the left front of Tristan Fortson's machine, you can already see the dark patches starting to form on the tires. That means that they're going to wear out, right? That's graining, and you can kind of see it. We've had these tires, Lewis. We've had these tires come back in this car at times where you could see the cords coming down pit road, and you can already see the graining starting to develop on Tristan Fortson's front tires. Just 13 laps into 133.
Yeah, it's be interesting to see, because the guys in the back, they're dealing with all that dirty air that they're running through. Your right front tire heats up the more you have to turn the steering input. So, and you get in that dirty air to make the front end turn, you're going to have to use more steering input to make it turn. If you're in front, you have more air pushing down that front wing, so you're not using quite as much steering input. So, you're going to keep that right front a little cooler than guys that are having to move the steering wheel more. So, the key to saving tires, and I'm not a great guy at doing this, but the key is the guys who are very smooth on the steering wheel. They're able to keep those right front tires from having to go across that asphalt like a cheese grater, and it builds less heat in the tire. So just have to see if some of these guys back here can save tires and still maintain a little bit with Indy, but it looks like he's just going to press the issue and say, come and get me, guys, if you can.
Yeah, and I was going to point out Chris Stouffer all over the bag of Matt Wagner. Stouffer is doing what he can do to stay out of the tire tracks of the number 6 and Matt Wagner. He's going all the way up against the wall. Now, you can run the high side here at Kansas. Lewis, it is a progressively banked track, 17 degrees at the bottom, 20 at the top. It is progressively banked, and you can run that high side effectively at the cost of additional wear on the right front. As you see, Stouffer, he's going to try to get to the front and alleviate the concerns by getting out in clean air. Big move to the high side, Lewis. They come down the backstretch. Chris Stouffer is going to have third spot before too much longer.
Yeah, and I think, it looks like Matt wants to come back on the inside a little bit, and as they run side by side going down the front stretch. But I was just getting ready to say, Matt, would probably allow him to go on by, but looks like he's saying not so fast, buddy.
Well, the problem with that is, here, especially at Kansas, when that right front starts to wear out, we're 20 laps into the run, or 19, a working lap 19 of 133. If you're wanting to fight somebody on old tires and you're trying to hold the bottom, it's a lose-lose proposition, Lewis, because you've already worn the right front by now to a point where it's starting to lose grip, and you're getting pinched down at the exit of the corner, and it really hurts your speed. Stouffer now is going to try to draft up behind Tristan Fortson and see if he can't grab the second spot, and he's already faster than Tristan Fortson. Stouffer faster than anybody on the course other than Indy Kirchenbauer, who does lead it. Chris Albrecht has retired his machine. He did not. He only made it a couple of laps and then decided to pull it off. And so Chris Stouffer's out of this one. Still 24 cars and still everybody more or less together. Only Joseph Morales and Iker Peguero have lost the pack, as Wags has decided he's not going to let Stouffer by after all. Working 22 at 133. The other part of this, Lewis, talk to me about strategy. We're on full tanks. We can do 50, 55 laps here easy on a tank of fuel. We've already lost half a second off the ultimate pace. I don't think that you want to do that much on tires, though.
No, that's the key tonight. I think is it's not going to be so much of being able to run your fuel out as much as it is how much am I going to be able to save my tires and run competitive paces for that whole tire run. So let's see these guys. I think the guys in 1st through 10th are just kind of settling in and are probably okay to run where they are. Indy, however, is getting ready to come up and catch the 24th place car. And so he's going to be experience some dirty air for the first time tonight. So we'll see what kind of effect that has on him.
Yeah, there's Indy Kirchenbauer right on board, looking out of his right eyeball. And you're exactly right. That's Iker Pagero up there. And look, Iker's not doing anything wrong, but Indy has not tasted that dirty air yet. And that's going to do two things. The first is that Indy's going to have to adjust the tools in the car, in his cockpit, to compensate for Iker being there. So different weight jacker, different anti-roll bars. The other thing is he's not felt it yet, and he doesn't exactly quite know what to expect as Pagero gets very loose coming off the corner, and he will let Indy Kirchenbauer go by.
Yeah, Indy luckily caught him in the very best place he could catch him. If he had ran up on him like that going into the turn, it may have been a little different situation there. But catching him down the front straight was very lucky for Indy.
You know, it was. Looking at Tristan Fortson, he runs along in second. He's got Chris Stouffer behind him. Stouffer has been worth the price of admission in this one. He's driven it up to the third spot, and he's looking for a little bit more. Do want to point out, Lewis, the points situation, and I'll bring those up here in just a second. We've only had a couple of races. But after 2 of 13, Indy Kirchenbauer is your point leader. Mason Mitchum is second. Chris Albrecht third. Wayne Campbell and Tristan Fortson round out your top 5. And they're all very much very close together. And you've got Kirchenbauer and Fortson running 1-2 out here. Those are 2 of the top 5 in points. And there's only 16 points between them. So there is a battle that's brewing for that points championship as well, Lewis.
Yes, there is. So interestingly, our week 1 and week 2 winners are not first and second in the points. So that's an interesting aspect. But every year over the last 3 seasons, the points battle has shrunk every year. So if we continue that way this year, we should have a very exciting points battle all the way to the end of the season.
We should. His son Indy leads it. There's Clay Kirchenbauer. He runs along in the 8th spot. He's behind Daniel the Cat Durazo in 7th. Mark Cohn has moved into the 9th spot. And you got the old pro, Yari Brubaker, lurking back here in the 10th spot. That's a name that's been around for a long, long time. Lewis, behind him, you see Clay just got really loose coming off the corner.
Yeah, so we're running lap 30 now, so we're really going to see some comers and goers at this point. The guys who have done a better job at saving that right front really should be noticeably quicker now until they come in and make that first pit stop. So the guys who have used that tire are probably going to start dropping pretty rapidly from this point on.
You can see the speed difference between Mark Cohn and Clay Kirchenbauer as they go through turns 3 and 4. Cohn is a guy that started to come forward. He started in 10th. He's moved his way to 8th. He's been as high as 7th, but we'll keep an eye on Mark Cohn. He tends to be very good on the long runs. We've talked about Wagner, Stouffer, and so forth. I'm looking for guys that are pretty quick. There's a battle between Wayne Campbell and Yari Brubaker. Wayne Campbell has started to come forward. There's his serial. He's now made up 6 spots on the day. So he started 16th. He's now 10th. That's another one of your front runners in the points. How about Mason Mitchum? Second in points. He started 23rd. He's now up to 13th, and he's working on Andrew Surwack for 12th in the Purple People Eater. So Mason Mitchum has started to come forward.
Yeah, he's very impressive the way he's able to come from the back. He does it every week. So I can only imagine what he could do if he actually would start up front for one of these races. But, there's some guys are just like that. Some guys like to start off. And sometimes starting from the back, you're able to run your own pace. You don't feel like you're being pressured. You can make passes when you feel like you want to make the passes, and you don't have to defend as much as starting up in the top 10. So a lot of guys, that's just that's the way they like to run their race, and obviously it works for Mason.
You know, it does. And I think, too, he's learning, right? He's learning and understanding how to navigate traffic and understanding how to safely navigate through the field. He's using this more as an opportunity to learn and understand than it is to go out and go fast. And look, Mason Mitchum is one of the newer guys in the community. Lewis, he's one of the newer drivers. He's bullet fast, but he's had some issues with racecraft in the past, and I think he's using this as an opportunity to improve that racecraft, and he's doing a tremendous job. He's up to 12th. He's past half the field, so we'll keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, Stouffer and Wagner, these are two old buddies.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say they are going at it.
They've been racing together since Methuselah was Methuselah was a glimmer in somebody's eye, and here they are out here. They have done nothing but battle each other tooth and nail for the last 20 laps or so. Stouffer has the edge, but Wags is not letting him go.
Yeah, and Wags got a lot of dirty air there. Stouffer's been running the high line, and Wags has been going down to the bottom. And I think Wags anticipated Stouffer going to the bottom that time, and he really washed up really bad. So I've been watching them last 3-4 laps, and Stouffer would go high and Matt would go low. And so he kind of got caught up in his dirty air that time and really lost a lot of momentum and a lot of time to Chris.
Well, and it didn't help that Chris Stouffer hit the wall right there. We got a comment from Ryan Cass says, it looks kind of like this week's Indianapolis package. It's not that bad. The issue is the track is very hot. So it's 75 degrees in the air. It's sunny. The track temp right now, though, is 118 degrees. Anytime you crest that 110 mark, these cars do get these cars do get hard to handle. I do want to thank the sponsors for the Horizon Racing League. Elite Custom car covers, or at least custom covers, not just car covers, Lewis, although they have those. If you're looking to elevate your race team, business, or man cave, Elite Custom Covers specializes in premium, custom branded products, including logo, rugs, rubber mats, pop-up canopies, table covers, flags, banners, trailer curtains, tire covers, toolbox covers, and more. Every product is custom printed with your branding and sponsors for a clean, professional look. You can follow Elite Custom Covers on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. For the latest mock-ups and deliveries, let us bring your vision to life. I think what I need is a giant "Say Hey Lewis Hayes" face on a stick.
Nobody needs that.
You know what we could do for the Sim Gaming Expo is we could make a giant Mike Rigney face on a stick. I think that would be tremendous.
Yeah, here comes Matt once again. He fell back, but he's closed the gap on Stouffer once again. And let's see if Matt. We're coming up pretty close to what should be the very first pit stop, and Matt looks low down to the bottom once again. Let's see if he's wants to ride behind Chris, or if he's going to try to. And here comes in Stouffer is coming in for a pit this lap.
Yeah, Chris Stouffer is going to be the first one to blink. The pit window opens at lap 44, and so Chris Stouffer is going to make his way down the pit lane. He'll be the first. Matt Wagner continues to run along in third. He's some 4.5 seconds away. Interesting to note, Tristan Fortson has started to reel Indy Kirchenbauer back in a little bit, Lewis.
Yes, I noticed that. And Indy's coming in pits right now, so Fortson will take over the lead going across the start-finish line right now.
There's Indy Kirchenbauer. He does come to the pit lane, and it's a gamble, right, Lewis? You can make your stop early. The window's open. You can come make that stop. But there's some drawbacks to it, aren't there?
Man, if that caution comes out after you come in, it's just devastating to you. But, if you stay out, you risk losing all that time from the guys that came in and pitted before you. So it's just a gamble that you got to take. And one of the things that makes green flag pit stops so exciting.
It does. That was
it can definitely, a green flag pit stop can change the whole trajectory of a race. You can have a guy out front leading, and it can all go away in a second.
Well, and here's the thing, Lewis. Matt Wagner, we're coming across the complete 46. We'll get lap 47 this time by. He's got John Stellard with him. when you look at it, Matty Wagner at this point, he can go another 8 or 9 laps probably. He does not have to pit right now. There's plenty of fuel in the tank of that track rocket. Although he's going to come in this time, and that's going to hand the lead and give the man his due. Primetime John Stellard.
Yeah, and everybody doing a great job getting down on pit road, nice and clean. It's not the easiest of pit lanes to get down off of turn 4, so got to really get it slowed down and get under the pit road speed. I believe it's 45 miles an hour, which is a ton to get down to. But it looks like we've had everybody get through clean so far. And now we see Mason Mitchum that's worked his way up to P1, leading. Has not come into pit road yet for his stop.
He is not. So we're looking at Stellard on pit lane.
Oh, we got a crash coming off 4. Crash coming off 4.
All right, man. Caution is out.
Caution is on the speedway. It is, I'm trying to find it, Christopher. Hard in the wall, and that is not, we've also got Nicholas Stockner with a meatball, and that is not what any of those drivers who were up front wanted to, who had made their stop, wanted to see. Here we go. It's Christopher. He's working to the high side of Treston Fortson, and I believe that's Stockner there. Oh, okay. Gary Lovern dove for the pit lane, and it surprised Stockner. Stockner went high, and Christopher just had nowhere to go, and he'll take the tumble. And Lewis, we're going to get back and watch this from Christopher's cockpit. And here's the thing I always want people to realize. When you're watching this right here, you're on board with Christopher. This is halftime. So when you watch this, when you're doing this in real time, you have no time to react. Here's Stouffer. He's to the high side. There's Stockner down the bottom. And now watch Gary Lovern. He's going to brake to go to the pit lane. And Stockner dodges, hits the wall. Stover clips him. That's at halftime, Lewis.
Yeah, he had no time to react, but he had no place to react to either, because they were, almost 3 wide at that point. And when that, it's just, I had said it just a few minutes before that. Can be very tricky to get down on the pit road coming off of turn 4 with the speeds these guys are going. Guys are coming off. Those guys had just come off pit road, and so they're running with a ton of momentum and speed. And then you have a car that brakes to get down on the pit road, and it just can be disastrous.
They are. Now, here's something else that we'll point out to you. You see all these cars up here behind the pace car, Lewis? They are all going to go back to the tail end of the lead lap. The front 7, Mitchum, Surwack, Staten, Kirchenbauer, Kenny Smith, Sheridan Wade, Nicholas Stockner, they're all going to be on fresh tires, with the exception of Indy, who stopped 7 laps ago. Mason Mitchum is going to be your leader, though. Indy had already unlapped himself, and so it may behoove him come and get some fresh tires. But everybody else had made their first pit stop, and so they're tail end of the lead lap, and that means Mason Mitchum is your leader. Do want to get some more bills paid and talk about 40 Racewear just a little bit. If you go to 40racewear.com, you get your sim racing shoes, hats, gloves, championship rings, and any other apparel. That's 4dracewear.com. Go see Jim Herrick. He'll get you taken care of. And I got to ask Lewis Hayes, do you have any taupe soaps yet?
I do not. I need to get on with that and get some ordered for my shower for sure.
You do. There is nothing better that my wife loves than going to make the morning coffee, going to wash her hands, and seeing Pato Award's soap face staring right back at her when she goes to take care of that. So get yourself some taupe soaps. Use promo code Horizon for a buy one get one free. That's taupessoaps.com. They've also got David Malukas now gonna have to order 2 David Malukas heads. She'll love that.
Nice.
You can have either Pato or David in every bathroom.
Makes sense.
Hey,
Can never have enough soap, right?
no, you
All
cannot.
right, we're getting ready to go back to green, and Mason gets a pretty good jump on the field right there. Let's see what I'm interested to see what Mitchum can do from the lead instead of from the very back of the field.
I am too. I suspect, as you see Andrew Serwak move to the inside of Yard Brubaker is a lap down on the exchange of pit stops. I kind of want to see if it was the track position or if it was Indy, because Mason Mitchum brutally fast in his own right, and he's got Andrew Serwak coming behind him, and Serwak is no slouch either. We've seen him run at the front at times. You got Brandon Staten up there now. He's third. You got Lapcar and Yari Brubaker mixed in there. And all the while, you've got Indy Kirchenbauer, who dominated the first third of this race. There's Indy. He finds himself all of the sudden seventh. And not only that, he's at a massive tire disadvantage to all the cars in front of him, Lewis.
Yeah, for the third race in a row, it's starting to feel like we talk about this each week, but for the third race in a row, Indy comes in and pits. He makes an early pit stop, and it's coming back to bite him with a caution that comes out right after he pits. So once again, luckily for him tonight, though, it's happening at the first pit stop of the race and not the last pit stop of the race. So he does have plenty of time to recover.
You can, and Lewis, you can win a lot of races doing that. You can also lose a lot of races doing that. It is a gamble if you're gonna take a short pit like that. It is definitely a gamble. We see Brandon Trost do that quite a bit in the official races where he'll short pit, and it either always results in a win or a really bad finish. There's no in between.
Yeah, and I think Indy pitting a good 7 laps before most of the field did is a pretty good indicator of just how hard he was pushing there. That he was actually pushing the car pretty hard.
One of the guys that I like to watch in those pit stop exchanges, Lewis, is our old friend Greg Evans, because Greg will actually sit out and wait to see what the pace difference is. So let's say the difference is half a second and he's got a 2-second lead. He'll stay out for 3 or 4 laps just because he knows that even then they're still not going to get to him, right?
Yeah, Greg's got an incredible crew chief, that's for sure. He's super fast, but he never hurts himself with his racecraft and race strategy. He's always on top of his game. And that makes him almost unbeatable.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Looking back at Kenny Smith, he's chasing down Brandon Staten. He's got Sheridan Wade and Nicholas Stockner behind him. The neat thing about that pit stop shuffle, Lewis, it's given us some different names at the front of this field for certain sure.
Absolutely has. So it's always nice to have some fresh faces up running in the lead pack. Guys that you don't talk about necessarily up in the lead. So Mason, he's definitely holding his own, though. He's maintaining a little less than a second lead right now, and looks like everybody is up there just wanting to run some laps and try to get to this next pit stop.
Well, they know, Lewis, they have a huge advantage, right? That front 5 knows they have a big advantage over Indy Kirchenbauer. Indy's going to have to pit first again, and he's behind, right? Kirchenbauer is 3.1 seconds behind the lead as we continue to watch Brandon Staten in third, battle Kenny Smith. But they know he's behind, so they can afford to stay out another couple of laps. They can afford to just wait and cover him off and stay out a little bit extra time, and he still can't pass him, right? But he's 7 laps more than they are on those tires, and just rolling right here under caution wears the tires.
Yeah, and he's in a pretty tough battle right now. And like we said before, that whole first stint, he was in fresh air, and now he's in a whole different world of where he's uh, having to battle dirty air and try to make passes. He's moving up to the top, but he's been riding right behind Nicholas Stockner the last several laps, but just can't quite get the pass done. And as soon as I say that, he's able to get past Stockner.
He does, but at what? He does, but Lewis, at what cost? And here's the other thing. You know, if you're Indy and you're leading, he could have probably stayed out there another 5 or 6 laps. How much do you think he's wondering, should I have just stayed out?
Well, you know, he's been so snake bit now for the 3rd week in a row. At some point, you're almost like it doesn't seem to matter what I do. It's gonna come back to hurt me. So he's clearly fast enough to just go out there and run his race and hope that he can make it up. And I think he can, but he's definitely going to have to try to somehow get back on sequence with these guys so that his tires are as fresh as theirs, because you can see the difference that 7 or 8 lap older tires is making to him. Clearly, he's one of the fastest cars on the track, but not with disadvantaged tires.
Yeah, I mean, tires are everything. Kenny Smith gets by Brandon Staten, and now Indy Kirchenbauer, he's going to drop to the bottom of Brandon Staten. But Kirchenbauer, you know, he'd run away to a 3-second lead early in this race. He's having trouble with guys that had been toward the back half of the field. They came forward under that pit stop cycle because they had simply stayed out the longest. They got the advantage of the L5, but Kirchenbauer having a hard time with him. The tire differential is 7 green flag laps, Lewis.
And it doesn't sound like a lot, Mark, but that can be huge as far as lap times are concerned. Just that few laps does make a huge difference, especially when you're having to fight through cars and try to make passes.
You know, it does. And look, I mean, Indy's doing better than most would be in this situation. But his problem is now in Mitchum, Surwack, and Smith, he's going to start chasing guys that are normally toward the front end of the grid anyway. Remember, we mentioned Mason Mitchum, second in points to Indy Kirchenbauer. Kenny Smith is starting to become a veteran of these situations. He's plenty quick, and Andrew Surwack helps do the setups for this league. So those are the guys that he's racing with. It's no longer drivers that you might find traditionally toward the rear of the field or missing the top split races that Kirchenbauer frequents. He's now looking at an issue where he could be. He's now looking at an issue where he's racing against cars that are plenty capable just on their own merit.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, he's not really making up any time to the leader right now. And actually, Mitchum has pulled out his lead over Andrew to almost 2 seconds now. So Mason, now that he's got clean air on the front of that number 3, is definitely putting down some quick lap times.
He is. The story right now is Indy Kirchenbauer led for most of the early running, got trapped a lap down with an untimely yellow in the pit cycle, came back on the lead lap when all the rest of the leaders pitted. He restarted 7th. He's come back to 4th, and he's kind of stalled out there. He's running about the same lap times as Mason Mitchum. Mitchum in the purple people leader. There he is. We'll reset the field for you. Mitchum leads it. Andrew Surwack is 2nd, and there's Surwack. Kenny Smith runs along in 3rd. The lap car of Yari Brubaker is in front of him. So Kenny Smith 3rd. Then Indy. We've talked about him at length. There's Nicholas Stockner. Stockner was another one of those cars that caught the yellow in an advantageous spot. He is 5th. 6th is Brandon Staten. He also is on that strategy, and he's got Tristan Fortson and Matt Wagner, the 2 track rocket entries, right behind him. Those drivers are among those that took the wave around, and they're trying to get back toward the front. And this may be where you have to do it. You're not going to be able, I don't think, to run down Indy Kirchenbauer from the lead, but you might be able to catch him and pass him in traffic, Lewis.
Yeah, I think that is a distinct possibility, and we've seen that before when Indy had been out in the lead at Homestead and got stuck in some lap traffic. He definitely lost time to the guys behind him, so that's a possibility. But these guys right here are really battling hard for these positions, and just makes it really tough. Seems like the black and red cars have found themselves, and they're almost running in formation right now.
Yeah, well, and they are. And here's the thing, Fortson and Wagner, those are two teammates, and so they're going to be in radio communication with one another. They're going to be communicating, I'm going high, I'm going low, so the car behind can claim the clean air and kind of save their tires. That's not something that Indy Kirchenbauer has the advantage of as he marches forward toward Kenny Smith. He's got the lap car of Brubaker up top, but he doesn't know where Kenny Smith is going, and he doesn't know where anybody else around him is going. Where if your team cars like Fortson and Wagner, you can communicate with each other as you try to prick your way through. We're working lap 80 of 133. I do want to thank everybody for joining in. You're watching the Horizon IndyCar Series presented by Taupe Stopes and Elite Custom Car Covers here on P1. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, and you too can get in on all of the iRacing fun. It's this man, Mason Mitchum, who's turned it into a snoozer up front. He's built the lead to 3 seconds over Andrew Surwack, and he's been out 29 laps. This will start his 30th lap out, Lewis. He can run probably to about lap 100, 105 or so. I'd be willing to bet you a shiny new dime that he stays out as long as the fuel in that machine holds out.
Well, he's built that nice big lead so that he can afford to do that because of that. And also he obviously saw what happened to Indy in that first stint. So, and also I look at these guys running, and they ran that first stint, so when they took those tires off, they got a good indicator of just how some guys saw that they could run a little bit harder in the second stint. Some guys saw that they needed to bring it back a little bit because they pushed the tire a little bit too much. So we're kind of seeing this, I believe, right now. Some guys have picked the pace up from their first stint, and some guys have slowed it down a little bit just because now they have an indication of just how they were able to push the tires on that first stint.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at lap times too. Mitchum is slowed way down. He slowed way down the last time through. Now he picks it back up, 25.650. Andrew Surwack 25.618. Kenny Smith 25.672. Pretty much everybody in the top four, including Indy Kirchenbauer, in that 25.6 second bracket. Stockner and Wagner are running 25.7, so is Treston Fortson. Stockner's gotten back by Wagner. Stockner's next up on the hit parade from Wagner and Fortson, but there's Wags. 25.7 for Wags, 25.7 Fortson, same for Staten. Daniel the Cat is in the 25.8s. Clay Kirchenbauer has started to surge forward. He was actually faster than Mason Mitchum last time through, but there's definitely cars that you can tell are have saved their tires and are starting to come forward. And Mitchum is still pulling away from Surwack, but he has started to back the pace down. Kenny Smith and Indy Kirchenbauer are starting to come forward, Lewis.
Yes, they are. And I think, would you think that Mason, they're probably thinking on that team that the longer we can run this stint out, the harder we can push on that last stint. So if we can run it down where we have less laps to run on that last stint, then we can really go full push and we don't have to conserve the tire quite as much. So save a little bit here, don't run so aggressively in the second stint, but be able to push harder in the third stint.
Absolutely true. And for Mitchum, it's kind of he's. I don't know if they have a spotter. I don't know what they're doing as far as that goes. Sometimes they're going to have a person whose sole role is dedicated over there at the Votive Racing League team. Sole role is to watch the race. I've performed that role on the Indy Alliance cars many a times. We got a taker on pit road. That's Brandon Domingue, and he just went a lap down. He was at the back of the line, and he'd already been out. He was one of the early stoppers the first time, but he's just looking, right, Lewis? He's just looking to see, okay, when does the first person stop, and where are they in relationship to me? So he knows how long he has until he brings it in. I got a feeling we're going to see Indy Kirchenbauer pretty shortly, though.
Yeah, I think so. He kind of made his bed when he pitted early in the first stint. So he's definitely, he's made his way back up to fourth place, but he's just kind of stalled there at this point. And he's going to have to come in and maybe undercut these guys a little bit, Murph, and hope that the fresh tires can help him get an advantage while Mason and those guys are running out the rest of this second stint.
It is. We'll get on the nose of Indy Kirchenbauer as he rides along here at Kansas. He was last in 47 laps ago. Now, 4 of those laps would have been under caution. So they kind of count in a 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 kind of deal. I would suspect you can probably do 55 laps here at full chat. So he might be able to stretch it to lap 100, Lewis, but he's going to want to pit anytime between now and lap 100. Mitchum and that crew, they can probably go to 105-ish, I'm going to say. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Honestly, the best thing that could happen for Indy right now is for a caution to come out, and hoping that, and he would be hoping that he's not the caution, but for a caution to come out before he has to pit, and that would get everybody back on the same strategy. But
that's true. I mean, then again, everybody on this track wants to see a caution except for Mason Mitchum, right? Everybody wants to see the yellow fly. A little bit deeper in the field, you got Daniel Cat, Drazo. He looks under and gets through Brandon Staten. Clay Kirchenbauer is lurking behind them. But yeah, everybody out here wants a caution except for Mason Mitchum, who stretched it out. He had been as much as 3.5 seconds. Matt Wagner now gets through Nicholas Stockner. Chris Albrecht has rejoined the race some 39 laps in arrears. Chris Stouffer is now the only...
Yeah, Forson's coming in. Clay Kirchenbauer's coming in for their pit stops.
Okay, so the pit cycles have started. We're looking at right around what I thought about lap 100.
Yeah, Indy's coming in.
Yeah, here comes Indy. So he's at 52 laps. He's got to be just about bingo on fuel. This has got to be just about all the further he could run. And he wouldn't be making that pit stop because of pace, Lewis. He was just as fast as the leaders. So Indy Kirchenbauer is going to come in and pit. And now all eyes are on this man, Mason Mitchum. And how about Kenny Smith? There's a battle fixing to start brewing for second here, Lewis, but I think Smith's coming in.
Yeah, I think everybody's decided that they just can't allow these guys who are stopping right now to get 2 or 3, 4 laps on this fresh tires before they come in. They just probably won't have time to make that time back up.
Caution is on the speedway. Caution is on the speedway, and I think I saw out of the corner of my eye. I believe it was
Will Stearns.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was either Will Stearns or
Yeah, it's Will, and he gets down on the apron, uh, coming into pit, and just loops it around, trying to make it on the pit road.
there he is. He gets the apron right at entry, and
Yep, it
then
just unsettles the car.
yeah, and then there you see it. Will Stearns around, and that's going to cause the yellow light. 100 of 133 down. Great break for Andrew Surwack, Nicholas Stockner, Brandon Staten, Nate Fields. Nate Fields have been out 54 laps. He'll be scored in fourth. Sheridan Wade, William Holman in prime time, John Stellard. They're all on the lead lap, as is Mason Mitchum. Mitchum is going to assume the lead. He was so far ahead, he did not go a lap down, and so Mitchum is going to be in good shape. Will Stearns stays on the lead lap. Everybody else, though, they're in deep trouble.
Yeah, these untimely cautions, all three of the first 3 weeks, have really been killers for some of these guys.
Yes, they have. And you're asking, how did Mason Mitchum make his pit stop, not go a lap down, and assume the lead? So here's how that happens. You don't really lose the lap if you're as far ahead as he was. He's not going to lose the lap until really he's on his up to speed, until he's getting up to speed on the warm-up lane in between turns 1 and 2. So he was able to make his stop. He came out, exited pit road, and as soon as he crossed the line, yellow comes out. Well, at that point, he's the last car on the lead lap. And so he's got the bonus. He gets the cycle to the front, and he hasn't put any green flag laps on his tires, Lewis.
Yeah, and also, since the stint has gone, they're looking at 30 something laps in this stint, so he didn't have to put quite as much fuel in as he did on the first pit stop as well. So that saved him a little bit of time as well.
It did. I'm gonna call it. You probably need 13 and a half gallons is probably what I'd put in there for 33 laps. 14 gallons maybe. You want to be safe. But
you definitely want to be able to run the car as hard as you need to run it to stay in the lead. So
for sure,
I've made that mistake too many times where you come in and you want to make up time, and you put in the minimum amount of fuel, and then you get back out there and realize that you can't push the car to be able to make up positions now because you're light on fuel. So it's a guessing game, and what makes it hard for these guys in online racing is most of them don't have a spotter or a crew chief that's there. So while you're in the cockpit doing all this and driving, and you're having to do all this strategy in your own mind, so it can
all
be.
Right, man. Lights are back on the pace car. We're not
can be
going green this time. We are
very
not going
hard.
green.
It can. And here's the other thing. I mean, yes, you may be by yourself, but there are also different peripherals that you can use, different third-party apps. There's Race Labs, iOverlay. There's all sorts of. iRacing now has a component that helps
All right,
you
man.
calculate
Lights
fuel
are
a
back
little
on
bit
the pace
better.
car. We're not going green
There
this
are
time.
all
We are not
sorts
going
of
green.
different things that you can do that'll help you out with fuel by yourself. So they'll know. I mean, and generally, within a gallon. I'm pretty good with the math in my head, Lewis. So I'll say, okay, whatever, 33 times 0.34 is whatever, and then I'll add an extra gallon. Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm just not very good at strategy. I'm one of those guys that likes to get in the car and drive, and I would prefer to have somebody that's just tell me what I need to do strategy wise, and that way I can focus on what's going on the track. So, but so because usually when I start trying to think about strategy, especially in the open wheel cars, there's a lot more strategy involved in these cars than a stock car, and I just get myself in trouble because.
There most certainly is. They've extended the caution here for a couple of laps, and interested to understand why. Have they said anything on the radios, Lewis? They're just trying to get everybody lined up here.
I haven't heard anything in particular other than just getting guys lined up in the proper order. I think they were expecting the pace car to pull in that lap, though, and it didn't. So. So every lap that we run right now is going to be that much harder that they can run to the end without having to worry about the tire so much, because we're looking at a 30 lap run right now as opposed to a 45 or 50 lap run like we did in the first two stints. So, Murph, I'm thinking this last stint is going to be pretty exciting, with all said.
Yeah, I mean, I've maintained, and Mason Mitchum now is going to bring him down. The pace car is going to come off. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and we're ready to go. It's going to be a 29, 28 lap affair here to end this
Green
one.
flag, green flag.
You know, we talked about tires and fall off and all that. I've maintained for a long time, Lewis, that the best that this car performs is on brand new tires and about a half a tank of gas, and that's what they've got in them now. It's, you know, if ever there's a spot to see these drivers let the rough side hang, it's going to be right here. And Mason Mitchum streaks out of the lead, but did you notice he didn't get very far away? Andrew Surwack right up under the rear of Mason Mitchum.
Yeah, he's definitely not letting him get away, and everybody in the top 10 looks like they're in single file right now. But behind those guys in top 10, it's a hornet's nest. And I'm looking at Indy. He's still not made up a position yet, so that's kind of interesting. I was looking to see how quickly he could make some passes on these new tires, but yet he's not been able to do it so far.
No, he hasn't been, and that's the thing. You know, you got to wonder how much of that is physical, in the sense that, you know, the car's just not handling now that he's back in traffic, and how much of it's mental in him saying, good grief, what do I have to do in order to win one of these things? Because you're right, he just hasn't been able. He was moving forward the second time, or in that second stint, and then the same thing happened, and now he's mired back in the 10th spot. He's about to be put back to 11th. He's not careful. Matt Wagner is there. He's got Kenny Smith in front of him, looking to the inside of a lap, Joseph Morales, and meanwhile, up at the front, Mason Mitchum continues to streak away. He's not yet quite shaken Andrew Surwack, but they have started to pull away from Nicholas Stockner and Brandon Staton. Sheridan Wade will round out your top 5. He started to pull away a little bit, right?
Yep.
Inch by inch, Lewis. And this track is like that. It's inch by inch. As the tires get hot, the leader becomes less and less vulnerable. If you're going to make that move, and we saw Mitchum block it, if you're going to make that move, you've got to make it at the very beginning of the run.
Exactly, Murph. Just every little bit that leader can get out there in front means that he can back off and save his tires, but it means that the guys behind him have to push that much harder and wear their tires that much harder to catch him. So the leader's in a definite advantage right now, and looks like he's continuing to pull away.
It's not so much that the leader can back off. It's there's no dirty air, right? So he's got the full complement of downforce on the front of that Dallara Andrew Surwack doesn't, and so in order to run the same speed, he's got to use more wheels, slide the tires more, and that's just a zero-sum game. You're never going to win it. The battle is going to be for third. You got Brandon Staten, Sheridan Wade, Nicholas Stockner in a wad right there. Primetime John Stellard is about ready to join that fight. The front two, I think, are pretty much set, Lewis, unless something happens. But
I tell you what, there is a hornet's nest from about 6 to 12. Those cars are lined up 2 by 2. We've had 3 wild racing there, and they're battling hard. They know the importance of getting past these cars, and if they're going to make a move toward the front, they've got to do it now.
Somebody looks like they went and tossed a bucket of cold water on those Hornets. They're racing awfully hard back there, Lewis.
Yeah, I think they know it's now or never. At this point, they've got to go now.
They do, and the other part of that is you got Matt Wagner, William Holman there working on Kenny Smith. You got Indy Kirchenbauer just ahead. Some of those cars are laps down, like Mark Cohn. Gary Lovren is not a part of this fight. Neither is, I believe, trying to figure out who that car is in front of Indy. I can't quite make out the number, but either Matthew Carroll. But there are cars up there that are not a part of this, Lewis, and that adds to all the tension as well, doesn't it?
It sure does, and unfortunately, because they're not a position to gain, their air is still a factor. I mean, their dirty air coming over the front of your nose affects you just as much as if that car was for position. And it becomes very frustrating because they're not for, you're struggling with that guy in front of you and knowing that once you get by him that you're not going to make up a position. It's a lap car, but the lap cars are not doing anything wrong. They have just as much right to their space on the track, and it's their responsibility, not to try to make an accident and take a car that's on the lead lap out for sure. But there's only so much room on the racetrack, and everybody deserves their spot out there.
They do. And speaking of lead lap cars, Brandon Stockner just whacked the wall coming off of turn number 2. That does not help his momentum out any. Primetime John Stellard is going to start looking at the back. Nicholas Stockner. The front two have gone away. The battle, well, it's for third on back, and you've used the term hornet's nest. They're going to start acting like wet hornets here in a minute. We're going to have 14 laps to go this time by. Mitchum and Surwack, they've run away and hid. Brandon Staten, Sheridan Wade, Nicholas Stockner, those cars are all in a knife fight for third on back.
Yeah, and at this point, Murph, I mean, you could probably explain it better than me, but these drivers are like, they're making adjustments to these cars, trying to get everything out of them they can right now to get them to turn. They see the car right in front of them. Indy, he's just working that car for everything he can to try to move forward.
Well, let's talk about that. So if you look at the steering wheel, all those buttons do something, Lewis. If you let's get the left so you can see it better. If you look at the steering wheel, the map, the number for map. Now none of the numbers on there mean anything right now. Those are not live, and that's something. Hold on to it, 9. That's Brandon Staten, and he just went for a ride. But if you look at the wheel, the map, the number next to map means fuel map. Regen is the rate at which the battery recharges when you hit regen. RARB and FIRB are the front and rear anti-roll bars. Higher the number, the stiffer the bar. Lower the number, the softer the bar. The weight jacker position, which is 0 at the moment, the bottom left. Higher the number, the stiffer the right rear spring. Lower the number, the lower number, the lighter the right rear spring. And Lewis, it's those roll bars and that weight jacker that you're working with now. You cannot control the roll bars when the car is in the corner, but you can control the weight jacker. And so drivers have been known, Lewis, to have quick jackers on their wheels where they can add or subtract 10, 15, 20 clicks with one press of the button to try to control that loose condition that you just saw from Brandon Staten coming off the corner a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, I'm really the guys that are really great at doing these adjustments during the race. I mean, some of these guys are literally, they have a different adjustment for the weight jacker for turns 1 and 2, and a completely different one for 3 and 4. So
yeah, the difference should be about 3 clicks. So most of the time, Lewis, at a track like this, we'll set the car up because the corner is sure whack hard in the wall. So that's going to put Kirchenbauer into the 3rd spot.
Yeah, I don't see any wing damage, but he definitely hit the wall hard enough to cause some type of damage.
Well, and that's going to put Indy back on the podium. We'll continue to watch and see if he can catch Brandon Staten now for the 2nd spot. Brandon's got some fans in the stands here. He's got some breathing room. He's got 7/10, about 3/4 of a second. He's only got to hang on for another 6 more laps. It's about +3. So when we come here in an open race, Lewis, we'll set the car up for turn number 1. And the reason you do that is the corner that you approach faster. The corners are the same, but the angles are different. And so you want about 3 clicks of weight jacker going into turn 3 as opposed to turn 1. Help make it rotate just a little bit better. You also might go down on the rear bar 1 click in turn 1 and up on the rear bar a click in turn 3. I'm giving away my secrets now. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to say, Murph, I'm writing notes down.
Well, I'm not really giving anything away. We ran Chicagoland last year at the Sim Gaming Expo, and Phil Kraus gave it away in front of about 1,500 people in an auditorium, and whoever knows how many were watching on the broadcast. So it's pretty well known that it's a ±3 differential at Kansas and Chicago. But yes, you do run different weight jacker and different anti-roll bars in different parts of the track. It's most acute at like Motegi or Gateway, where you might have a 20-click differential between the corners.
Just so surprised here at these racing in Horizon. The cautions are kept to a bare minimum, and these races just click by so fast. You look up and it's like there's 2 laps to go, and it's like, where did this race go? It's like we just got started.
That's very true. There's only 2 laps to go. Indy Kirchenbauer has arrived at the back of Brandon Staten, and I kind of had to give it the whistle because Brandon Staten threw the aero block at Indy Kirchenbauer going through turns 3 and 4 that last time. Indy had to back out of the gas, watch it wash off the track. We've got some action in the back. His car spinning down onto the apron, but there it is. You see how Staten would enter the corner in the middle. He drive to the bottom, and Kirchenbauer has to get out of the gas. White flag for Mason Mitchum. And we don't want to miss Mitchum's winning moment. That's going to come in a moment. I don't think Indy is going to have enough starch to get past Brandon Staten. And here comes Mason Mitchum, and he will win at Kansas. Brandon Staten is going to come home second. Indy Kirchenbauer third. How about that?
Wow, what a great drive for Mason tonight, all the way from the back to the front. Great job for him. Very strong car.
Yeah, there it is. He started 23rd. He finishes first. And it was only a 25-car field, right? So he passed everybody but 2 cars to win this one. And there were only a couple out of the race, Chris Albrecht and Chris Stouffer. So if your name was Chris today, you probably didn't have a good run. But other than that, it was a doggone good one for Mason Mitchum.
It was a good race for Mason, and also Brandon was able to hold off Indy there at the end. Indy looked like he was a little quicker, but just ran out of a little few laps that he needed to get back up there into second place. But once again, he's very consistent. Even though he has problems, he still ends up with another podium for the third week in a row.
He does, and that's how you put together a championship run. Mason Mitchum wins the race. Brandon State second. Indy Kirchenbauer comes home third. Then primetime John Stellard and Matt Wagner round out your top five. Clay Kirchenbauer, Sheridan Wade, Nate Fields, Kenneth Smith, Daniel the Cat Durazo, your top 10. In 11th is Wayne Campbell. Nicholas Stockner is 12th. Andrew Surwack, 13th. William Holman, 14th. Tristan Fortson, 15th. Yari Brubaker is 16th. Will Stern, 17th. Gary Lovern, 18th. Brandon Domingue and Matt Carroll, 19th and 20th. In 21st, it's Mark Cohn, then Joseph Morales, Iger Figueroa, Chris Albrecht, and Chris Soper, both Chris's, out of the event tonight, classified 24th and 25th.
So what do you think, Murph? I think it was a very exciting race. It seemed like a typical Kansas race. Guys trying to conserve tires, and once you get a leader that can get out in front, it's very difficult to run down and get around.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question I'm going to ask Indy Kirchenbauer as soon as we can get him in here, is what the difference was being out front and being back in the pack. Here is Indy. Indy, you've got Murph. You've got say, hey, Lewis Hayes in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
So you ran away and hid for most of the first third of this one, Indy, drawing out to as much as a 3.5 second lead. You caught a bad break with one caution, a bad break with a second caution. What was the difference in the car between being out front and being back in the pack?
Yeah, it was just a really bad setup for racing. Like it would just be who's ever in the lead would be able to easily pull away, and then if you're in dirty air, the top was worse than the bottom, but then when you tried to pass someone, it was incredibly difficult to pass someone on the bottom. So I don't. Yeah, it was just a race, and just pretty frustrated with that, but yeah.
Well, we can certainly understand the frustration after being so fast early. Lewis, what do you have for Indy Kirchenbauer this evening?
Hey, Indy, not to sound like a broken record, but this is the third week in a row that it seems like a caution has come back to bite you. However, it's also the third week in a row, I do believe, that you've been on the podium. So you are definitely one of the most consistent drivers in Horizon Racing League. And you can always say that you're also one of the fastest, if not the fastest driver. So just if you keep doing what you're doing, I think you'll have a very successful season this year.
Yeah, it's just at least I was able to keep my podium streak. At the end there, I was right around everybody, like Wags and Treston and Durazo, and I was the only one to be able to get up in that top 5 range. So that was good for my points, because we were all on the same strategy there and all got screwed by that last caution. So it was just nice to be able to work up to the podium, and yeah, we'll be here next time at wherever we are next time.
Yeah, you just keep doing what you're doing, and I know you feel like you're snake bitten probably with strategy right now, but you're definitely one of the fastest guys on the track, and you're one of the most consistent. So those two things put together, you're definitely going to have success this year, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. Still was able to keep my podium streak going, so that's good.
And Indy, that's how championships are won, right? It's not about one single race. It's about being up at the front over an entire season, and you've certainly started a pretty good trend. And with that trend comes the microphone. Friends, family, sponsors, shout them out. You've got the floor.
Yeah, I would just want to shout out BGM Marine Associates, uh, Bayside Comfort Heating and Cooling, and Make Something on YouTube, and just everybody that watching the stream. Thank you to you for putting it on. Thank you to everybody for putting on the league, and thank you to Votive Racing, and thank you to everybody watching.
Absolutely. Keep going fast, having fun, Indy. We'll see you at the next one. You hear?
Yep, thank you.
Absolutely. That's Indy Kirchenbauer. He runs in the third spot. Second place today goes to Brandon Staten. Brandon, you've got Murph. You've got Say Hey Lewis Hayes in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
I can hear you.
All right, my man. So you were like Mason. You were the beneficiary of two caution flags that came out to your advantage. I asked Indy this, and I'm going to ask you a little bit of a variation on it. What's the difference between having new tires around people that have old ones and vice versa?
You could definitely tell the difference. So, especially in that first run, I didn't think I had the pace in dirty air. So I was saving a whole lot of tire, and at the very end of that stint, right before the caution came out, was able to really start passing people, just because of the different tire life. And the same thing kind of happened there at the end, where I was able to save a little bit more tire than Indy, because he had to make his way through the field again, but I was in clean air, so it was really noticeable.
Lewis, what do you have for Brandon State tonight?
Hey, Brandon, great race tonight, man. And it looked like that last restart, man. It was really difficult. You spoke about Indy. It took him about 10 laps to pass two or three cars in front of him. Once he got past those cars, he was able to move up and get up in that third position. But he used up a lot of his stuff there. But definitely was coming on strong there at the end. I just think you guys were very consistent all race, kept it up to the front. And did you have or felt like at any time that you had anything to be able to catch Mitchum or to reel him back in? Or were once you got in that position that you were in, were you just trying to hold on to second place?
As much as I want to say I felt like I had extra pace to catch Mitchum, I knew I didn't. And I knew Indy was right behind me, and I knew he was really fast, so it was the checkered flag couldn't wave soon enough for me.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and you were wise to use that strategy, because I think if you would have pushed hard to try to catch Mason, the leader had a definite advantage the whole race. Whoever was in the lead, whether it was Indy or whoever it was at the time, had a definite advantage. So if you would have pushed hard to try to catch the leader, I think it would have definitely opened up second place to Indy a lot quicker. So. Great race tonight, great strategy, and congratulations on P2, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you so much for stopping in and stopping by. You get on the podium at P1, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout them out, my man.
Yeah, of course, I'd like to thank all my friends that were able to tune in and watch this.
Oh, they've been active in the chat all night.
I expect nothing less from them. I'd like to thank Matt Wagner for putting on this league, some of the most fun racing I've ever had on this service. And then, of course, everyone in here, because it's a really high strength of field, really hard to do well. But that just means when you do it, it feels that much better.
Absolutely.
It most certainly does, and we congratulate you, Brandon. Great run in second place today. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's Brandon Staten. And the final person is going to be your winner, Mason Mitchum. Mace, You've got Murph. You've got Say Hey Lewis Hayes in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Well, I'll tell you what, my man, you made it hard on yourself. For 3 weeks in a row in this series, you haven't put in a qualifying lap. This time you passed everybody. How was it driving through the field?
Well, I will say that was a pretty interesting setup as far as it was hard as heck to pass people. So what I did to start off with was I put it in map 5 because I knew everyone else would be in map 1 and they would be trying to pass hard, and I was just chilling for like 10, 15 laps, hoping that I could get some sort of tire advantage on them. And even when I did decide to put it in map 1 and start trying to go harder, it took me like 5 laps to pass somebody for a while. But after I started passing like one person here and one person there, it started like avalanching a little bit. Like I started just, I think everyone in the middle was way more burned off than me in the back that was taking it easy. So by the time I caught up to like the mid pack starters, well, I probably had a pretty big tire advantage on them, and then I was just gunning them down. And I think just staying out as long as possible is what you want to do at Kansas, because this track, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it has a really treacherous pit entry. And I was trying to tell the guys on the team, and I mean, Indy was way out there in front, so you can't tell him to not do what he was doing because, he's way in the lead. But I was like, guys, you got to save gas because nobody survives the pit entry here. And even if they would have saved gas, it probably wouldn't have helped them because I was barely able to make it through the pit stop when that caution came out. I was like 0.1 gallons left. Suffice to say, it was an interesting setup once you got into the lead, though. Then basically, I feel like you're pretty much invincible.
Yeah, you did look like Superman once you got out front. And from one Superman, I'll give you to another, Lewis Hayes. What do you have for Mr. Mason Mitchell this evening?
Hey, Mason. Great to be able to talk to you, man. Great job on the big win tonight. Secretly, if he would have asked me tonight who was my pick to win the race, I would have probably picked you. I just felt like you had a lot of momentum over the last couple of weeks. I'm glad he didn't ask, because with my luck, I probably would have jinxed you big time. But let me just ask you, I've noticed, and we talked about it on all 3 of the broadcasts, that you definitely seem to like to start from the back. Is there any particular reason why you like doing that? Is it a strategy, or what's your reasoning starting in from the back?
Well, it's not really anything to it other than I'm practicing. That's really what it comes down to, right? I think most people would say if you had to describe me and how I drive races in the past, I was front runner, right? Like I could get pole every single time, or I could start up front at the very least. I wouldn't say pole every single time, but I'm pretty good at qualifying. Let's put it that way, right? But I got to get better at racing. So over like the last 6 months since the year started, I pretty much am just starting from the back every single race I can, so I can get better at passing cars and figuring out, how to actually be a good racer. I think just because you qualify good, and you just can't use that as a crutch to success, right? Like it's good to know qualifying, but it's not good if you don't know how to race. So I'm just starting from the back every single time. I'm going to drive through the field every single time until it becomes easier and easier, and I get faster and faster, and then eventually, then when I do start from the front, well, then I'll be pretty tough to beat because then I have the qualifying and the racing down, and then I don't think anyone can really stop me. Hopefully, that'll be the goal, but we'll see.
Well, my friend, it looks like your goal has been achieved to me. It looks like you're plenty fast, and you figured out how to come from the back to the front. What do you think about that, Murph?
I was going to say, I kind of figured that's what he was doing. And Mason, you did it to perfection today. Yeah, I mean, the yellows flew correctly, but you kind of make your own luck in the way that you played that strategy. So congratulations on that. As always, you get on the podium here at P1, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout them out, my man.
Yeah, let's start off with shouting out Horizon. Horizon has developed into a pretty nice league. Wags is out here getting, a lot of people to join, a lot of up and comers. Like I want to, for example, shout out Brandon Staten. I hope I said his last name right. Staten. I got it covered one way or the other now. But I I think he did a great job today. Yeah, he was kind of on a similar situation as me, where cautions kind of, helped him out maybe. But no matter what, he got where he got, and that's all that matters. And earlier this season, I think he was on the podium again, or maybe he was in fourth place. But no matter what, he's doing a great job, and I've been watching him, and I'm happy that he did good today. Indy Kirkenbauer also. Well, actually, it's Kirchenbauer. Well, I say Kirkbar, but we mess his name up all the time. But he probably would have won this race had it stayed green, considering he had a massive lead. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. So you just got to keep your head up, get on the next race, and we have a long season. I think me and him are first and second, so I'll shout him out. He's gonna do great things, and Wag's running the league and doing a great job with that. P1 broadcasting. I love watching every single one of these races back. I like to see what happens, what I can do better. I use it like film studies sometimes. I really enjoy all that you guys do. It's a tough ask, to come out here and watch people like me race. I know we, but at the end of the day, y'all do a great job, and I really love to watch it. Other than that, if there's any friends or family watching the race, Mariella, I'm ready to eat some spaghetti here in a minute. I can smell it from the room over here. I'm hungry, So yeah, that's all I got. Everybody, y'all take it easy, and I'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely, Mace. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Yep.
That is Mason Mitchum. We'll get him out of here. We'll get him off the screen. And Lewis, it's about that time, my man. One more down in the horizon, another new winner. And it's Mason Mitchum coming from the back. Kind of said it. You make your own luck, don't you, Lewis?
Absolutely. And Mason's done a great job over the last several weeks of making his own luck, keeping his nose clean, and coming up with consistent finishes.
Yes, he has. If you want to continue to watch drivers make their own luck, keep it right here on P1, because we got a ton of high-quality iRacing content just for you. Right now, sister stream, you've got the Formula Indy Series. They should be wrapping up. Just now. On Friday, no race tomorrow. On Friday, we'll have the AMA Archway Industrial Coating Stretch Series live from New Hampshire. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going to whip them all in that one. Saturday, we'll have the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 40 Racewear from the Chicago Street Course, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Monday night, it's the Indy Open Series, Monday night top split. Week 11 of 12, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. They'll be followed at 10 by the Indy Next Road Series top split. On Tuesday, it is a triple header. The IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday night top split begins at 8:15. The Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday night top split at 9:30. And it's Area 51 after dark. Andrew Wood and I will be back from Phoenix at 9:30 next Tuesday night. And that brings us right back here to the Horizon IndyCar Series, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard next Wednesday for the round 4 at Road America. Do want to thank everybody in the fans, everybody in the stands, the fans in the stands for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel, and you too can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We also want to thank the drivers on the track for their support of the series. We want to thank the sponsors, Elite Custom Covers, 40 Racewear, and Tote Soaps. But Lewis, we want to thank the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance. And Lewis, we always want to thank the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. Everybody, stay tuned. FIS is still on.